Welcome to FM Facebook Live. Today, we're going to be going over the game changer called FM Triangulation. We're going to see why that's so valuable and how to use it. So before we do, we're going to remember one more time, right? The two most valuable things you will ever possess are your ideas and your time to carry them out. So again, today we're going to get some great ideas, and this is no better time to get ideas than today and now. And the reason why is you're out of the pool, and when you get back in the pool, you can carry these ideas out. If you don't have these ideas, you didn't use this constructively, then that could be something that you really would have looked back and said, wow, I wish I took advantage of that time. So let's take advantage of it now. So the first question I have is, how do you measure success in life? Right? And the way we look at it is you measure it by how many footsteps you take and in what direction. That's the general measurement, right? How many footsteps you take and in what direction. And so the next part of that is, if you could you have been, like, let's say you're great looking, tall, handsome, right? Whatever it is, you got plenty of money, whatever it is, things that would say, hey, this person's gonna be really successful, they're smart, right? And then can you take, with all that great stuff, one footstep this way, and then one footstep this way, and then one footstep this way, and where do you get to? Nowhere, right? Because you're walking around in circles here, you're not getting anywhere. However, could you not have all those things? Maybe you weren't as good looking, maybe you weren't as, whatever it is that would call you, that's going to be successful, people put in there. And maybe you just set your goal, right? And you set a target, you make your plan, and you keep on track with that plan, right? And you keep one step in front of the other, and you go down that pathway to get there. So you start to get success, because how far you travel down that road, right, is an indicator of how much success you might have in that process, right? So you just want to kind of travel down the road. So set your target, make your plan, and keep on track, right? And these ideas will help you keep on track. And it's not that there's not going to be bumps and curves in the road. There are. One of them we're experiencing, with the shutdown, things like that. Those are bumps in the road. But never let a bump in the road deter you from your mission. So let's move to the next slide. And so today I'm going to recommend that you go, again, here's 3 things for this week, during the week, that you can continue to move forward before we get to next week, where I'm going to give you even more brand new information. In fact, next week's topic is fantastic. I'll describe it in a little bit. So this week's is, again, the game changer is massive. It's very important. So where we are here is we're at, this is a shot of the Discovery Center. So if you haven't been there, at this point, hopefully you have, but if you haven't been there, that's where you want to go. Go to fluidmechanics.net. Do the online training, so FM online training, and then go to the Discovery Center. You'll see this type of picture come up, and you can get started. So you type in there, here's my 3 recommended topics for this week. So again, this is for the week between now and then. This is complimentary, so go on there and go ahead and take a look here. First one is fact versus perception. It's a great topic to help you understand what we think of as fact versus what's actually perception. Then cool versus outstanding, another great topic. And then riding the back of the bus. All right, one more time, fact versus perception, cool versus outstanding, and riding the back of the bus. Now, we go down here. Again, this is where you would type in right here. This is the search bar. So if you just typed in like bus, it would pull right up. So it's very, very simple and easy to use. And you're going to see, right, riding the back of the bus, come up here, and off you go. And then you can read it. You can make notes in here. You can like it. You can share it. And those are all private to you, the notes and things like that. So that's your account. So that's why you have an account in there. Okay, and you can also mark it as complete, that you already did, so you can look for all your incomplete ones. Now, if you're looking to, if you're looking in this and you want to search, you click this little arrow here, and that expands a search, and you've got all kinds of things to find out exactly what you want. You have a query in there, and you can put in criteria to say, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. So let's get started into it here. We're going to start by orienting ourselves. right? In this case, we're looking at a topic that is in synergy. Okay, this is how we pull it all together. So synergy topic, FM triangulation is a form of synergy topic, and it spreads out into the different cornerstones to be able to take information from each one of these and pull it together. And by the way, the character there is called Super Lou because he does everything. Okay, let's move to the next one. So this is FM Triangulation, the game changer. And the 3 points that we're looking at here, we're going to introduce you to the 3 triangulation tools. All right? This is something you'll find one of them has never been offered before anywhere. And we've invented it, and we have it, and it's phenomenal. It changes the way you think about your swimming immediately. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to those 3 triangulation tools, how to use them, and where you can get them. All right? So here's the first tool. The first tool is called the Race Map tool. This is an FM tool, so it's an FM Race Map tool. We're the only ones in the world that have it. I invented it, and we had somebody create it. It's really neat. So here's what it does for you. Basically, you're going to go down through here, and just so you know, today you're going to be able to try it right now. So if you want to try it right now, I'll tell you about it, then you can try it, and I'll tell you how to get it. So first thing you do is you go in here, and you put in your event, whatever that event is. Make sure you put in, whether it's short course yards, short course meters, or long course meters, because that's going to make a big difference. Then over here, you put in your total time that you want to achieve. So let's say you want to do 54 in the 100 breaststroke, 54.02. Right? You put that time in there. Then it's going to give you a generic reaction time of 0.5 seconds. It automatically loads that in. However, if you're a little slower, then you come back and adapt that race map. So first it gives you a generic, and then you adapt it to what types of what you can do and what you think you can change. And then you do your breakout time. So breakout time, we make very specific definitions. In the tool, there's a glossary that gives you the definitions. There's a few other sub-tools that help you. So in case you didn't know how to fill this in, it'll give you some guidance to it. So the reaction time is 0.5 seconds. That's till the point your feet, right, you're actually starting to uncoil your legs, right? So you're straightening your legs to leap off the block. From that point, right, the next one is breakout time until your hands break apart. That's what we call the breakout time. Some people refer to it as the head breaking through the surface. In our case, we're going to refer to it as when your hands come apart if you're in breaststroke, or start that first pull, right, and come apart to get that first pull in freestyle, etc. So that's where your breakout time is. The third one is a turn time. So we give you a generic 1 second from the time your head goes down in a turn, for instance, in a flip turn, till your feet are getting ready. So you're starting to uncoil your knees again for the push off, right? And then the breakout time again is from that time you uncoil to the point you break your hands apart. Again, ours is handbrake. And then this is the big thing that changes everything. How many cycles are you going to take per length? That's such an important factor, right? Is how many cycles do you take in that length? So it's a very, very important thing to have here is to know what a cycle is and how that works. Now, once you figure out your number of cycles that you're going to take, you now have you've had a very important discovery and revelation. This is what I'm going to do. And now you can start to plan to get that done. Now, let's say we have inside the tool, you can see there's target cycle counts, right? So that tells you, for a swimmer your age, what the target is, your age and gender, how many strokes you should try to take. Now, let's say you're taking 11 strokes and you're supposed to take only 6. You don't have to go down and be on target at 6. You just need to move from 11 to 10, and you're moving towards target, which means you're getting better. So a lot of people say, oh, target, I got to be on target. You don't have to go and be on target. You don't even ever have to hit target, but you want to move towards and know how, get closer and closer to the target. That'll make you more effective. Okay, so once you put in and you find out, you might go in there, or you take a look at what they recommend, take a look at a videotape of you swimming in the past. And then you say, okay, I'm going to start to close this gap. So I'm taking 11 now, I'm going to put in 10 cycles. Now when you put in 10 cycles, you're going to hit calculate cycle rate. And it's going to tell you exactly to the 100th of a second how fast you need to cycle with all these being correct, right? All exactly to the 100th second. Now you all of a sudden know how fast you have to do your sit-ups and your push-ups and your pull-ups, right? And those types of exercises. You don't want to do that with weights. Weights a little different, right? But you know, and so then your baseline exercises, you know how you want to train to what rate. Once you, right? So now you know how to aim to get to that rate. Now, again, you might not be at that rate yet. Again, you move towards that rate. The idea is to close the gap. And what that means, a lot of people don't understand this in strength training. You notice how this kind of tells you how many strokes, and it tells you how to strength train in a way. And it also tells you how you want to use as a baseline for cycling. And we'll show you how you can measure that and use that, right? And so that cycle rate is very, very important. That's a stroke rate. Let me see here. So when you do that, this also, by the way, in this tool gives you target breathing frequencies, because you need to fuel your body to be able to maintain those types of rates. And then it gives you the glossary of, right, and the definitions of each one of these, right, of each one of these parameters that we're looking for. Okay, so if you're interested in trying to get that, and that's such an important thing, you don't have that, you don't have a map. And again, take a look, you need your race map. If you don't have a race map, how do you train? There's no blueprint. So this is the blueprint for your race. It's called a race profile. All right, and so you need that profile. So where you get that profile is right here. There's nobody in the world that has that profile except for here, and we're going to give you one today at no charge. So if you go in and you say right, go to swim@fluidmechanics.net, send an email to swim@fluidmechanics.net, say FM Insider Tool. You want to put down the event that you're focusing on and select the course length, the time you want to achieve, and the cycles per length that you're going to, right? So again, you're going to have the event with the course, you're going to have the time that you want to achieve, your goal time, and then the cycles per length that you're going to take to get there. Okay? Send that in, and we'll do that right now for you. It goes to swim@fluidmechanics.net. They'll send it to you and email it back to you. It's very important. The cycle count is extremely important to get that correct. If you don't get it correct this time, don't worry, you can resubmit. However, where can you get it? So where you can get to use this tool yourself, right, is we're coming out with a program. I think I had announced it before, but we're going to announce it again. It's called the FM. It's actually called the FM Fast Track, and these are online tools. Right? And you'll be able to get a subscription. It's very inexpensive, and this is one of the tools in there that you'd be accessing constantly as you start to progress in your racing. You try to set your goals, and then you build a race map for it, and then you target that. And that's opening soon. We think within 2 months it'll be complete. At the end of June, actually, it should be complete, ready to go, and available for you to get in there. Okay, so this is number one tool. Number two tool, going back here, is called video analysis. So you get your race map first, and then you do a video analysis. Now, we're going to go over here and take a look. Now, the video analysis that we use at Fluid Mechanics, again, you can use there's a number of different programs out there. We have one that we like to work with, which is Huddle Technique. We don't have any relationship with them other than we think their tools are fabulous. And so we think they did a great job with that tool. And so that's one thing. And what they do is you can get a free version of this at your app store and just download it, and you can start videotaping. Then once you videotape that, it's much more, it's better than a regular video, because now you can analyze right there. You can put on lines, you can put your voice on, you can email it. So you guys could email it to us, and we can help you with the analysis, or you could do it yourself. and it's free. Now they have a version that we use that I think it's 50 or 60 something like that dollars a year to get a membership to this, whatever the price is now. But it's phenomenal because it has this little clock on it, and you can figure your cycle rate. And that makes such a difference. So what a cycle, just to be really clear what a cycle is if you're not familiar with it. In breaststroke, if you take your arms from like maybe a start point, any start point, and you go back to that start point, that's one cycle. Okay? If you move it and you're looking at it in butterfly, it's the same thing. In backstroke, let's say your left arm is in front at the glide, and you measure it until the left arm gets back to the front of the glide. That's one cycle. Same thing in freestyle. So freestyle and backstroke have 2 strokes inside a cycle, and butterfly and breaststroke have 1 stroke inside a cycle. All right, and that cycle count is so important here. So what the first thing when you do this video is you video yourself swimming, or have somebody videotape you swimming. Then what happens is you're going to check on how many cycles you're going to take. That's the first thing. How many cycles did I take to get out in the pool? You should always look at that first. How many cycles did I take? Then, what's the rate of those cycles? That little clock helps you figure out the rate very quickly. Then what you do is you come back, right, and you can compare it to this map and see, am I closing in on it? Am I getting closer to what I want? Or am I moving farther away from it? So the third tool that we have is called the tempo trainer. Okay, and so the tempo trainer, I know there's one from Finis, there may be other ones as well. The tempo trainer acts like a metronome. So you put it in your cap, your bathing cap, right? Like this girl has it right here in her cap. I don't know if you can see that right there, right? It's actually on the outside of her cap. I recommend you put it like inside the cap. And it's going to go beep, beep, beep. So if you put in 1.32 seconds, it'll beep every 1.32 seconds, which means that's how you need to get, let's say you're doing breaststroke, beep, 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 and you're going to be able to train to that tempo. So now you have the map, right? You've got the analysis tool to make sure that you're going towards that map. And then you've got the tempo trainer that's going beep, 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 keeping you on target while you are training. Now you can also take that tempo trainer and you can use it, if this makes sense, you can use it at back down, let's say you're going to your basement to do sit-ups or push-ups. So you just put that on you and you can hear the beep, beep, and now you know, right? And then you're training your muscle to contract at that rate. The problem is just training the muscle to be strong versus training the muscle to contract at that rate. So if we use like push-ups, sit-ups, things like this as indicators, like a center indicator of how you're progressing, and how long you're able to hold that, and how many times can you do that over and over again. And then the cycle count, so let's say your cycle count is 7 per lap on average, you multiply that times 4, right? And so if it's 7, again, the first lap is kind of, because you get the dive and things like that, you can average it in, but it's going to kind of set it off a little bit. You're really looking for the other laps that aren't the first lap, right? And although that's important, it's not as important as trying to get this consistent rate. So what we do is we take a look at those rates. So if it's, if you're cycling that certain rate, that really makes a huge difference if you train your body to cycle at that rate. Now, if you don't have the goal to start with, you're just kind of playing around out there, right? So you need to have a goal, and it needs to be a goal that's attainable. We have that goal setting tool. That's also inside the fast track tools, right? So you have a goal setter. You have a one where you can determine how much progression that you made, right? Progress calculator. And there's also a time splits is in there to tell you how fast you got to go every lap. So all these great tools are in there, but you want that consistently. So here, let's take a look here. And this is how you use them together, just very, very clearly. You do one, right? You're going to first create your race map, create your plan, all right? And before that, of course, you'd have your goal. So you get your goal, you create your race map, and create that plan. Number 2, right? You're going to open the target cycle counts to make sure, right, that you're moving towards that. So whatever you've done in the past, now you want to make sure that you're moving towards how many cycles you should take in your gender, in your event, right? And see how many cycles you should take down that pool. And then after that, you're going to review the glossary section to make sure you got the right definitions, right? Because that's going to be important. So you understand what all these parameters are inside here, right? These, not all these, there's only a few really, but so you know what these parameters are. Then after that, right, the next thing is you're going to use the video analysis. So number 1 is done then, right? You created your map, you make sure your cycle counts are there, and you're moving in the right direction. And again, don't put the cycle rate at target, try to put it, one step forward from what you're doing now. So you close in on the target, right? Then you review the glossary section and you adjust anything that you need to inside here. So, I can't start at 0.5 seconds. I'm a little slow. I'm only going at 0.7. So then you got to change that to 0.7, right? My turn time, though, I'm faster. I'm like 0.8. Great. And as long as you're in those parameters, right, 0.8 is going to do it. You don't want to miss anything. And then all of a sudden, you put down your cycle length, or cycles per length, and you click this, and it's going to give you your rate. You can email it to yourself. You can email it to whoever you want, right? Just click the email and put in the email address and goes. Okay. So this changes everything because of the fact that you now have a race map. Before, when you didn't have the race map, you had video analysis, but there was no plan. So you could see what was going on, but you didn't have anything to, right, there's no blueprint to go off of. And you didn't know if you were closing in on anything, you just, there it is, that's it. It's just like a one dimension. We make this 3-dimensional. First one, race map tool. Second one, do your video analysis, right? And find out where the gaps are and start to close them down. I took 11 strokes, I was supposed to take 10. That's where my problem was, right? Because that 10 strokes is very important. If I start training you, and we always say it, strokes, turns, starts, in that order on purpose. So strokes, right, have a multiple. Let's start with a start. If we take 0.2 of a second off of your start, we spend a lot of time working on this, and that's a massive amount. If it's only 0.8 to start with, we get it down to 0.6. That's huge, right? That's a lot of development there because you've taken off, like a quarter of it. That's a big jump. So if that makes sense, but I can only multiply it by 1 because there's only one start. So if I take 0.2 off the start, I get 0.2 off my race, no matter what length the race is, because there's one of them. If I take 0.2 off a turn and I'm doing 100 yards, short course, right? Then I'm going to get 0.6 because there's 3 multiples, there's three turns. But if I take 0.2 off of a cycle rate and I maintain the cycle count, I take 0.2 off every cycle, and let's say I'm doing 5 cycles down the pool, so I'm taking 10 strokes in freestyle. I just got a second off that lap. And then I can multiply that by 4. That's 4 seconds I drop. So I can drop 0.2, I can drop 0.6, or I can drop 4 seconds. Which one do you go for? That's easy, right? We look for opportunities. The biggest opportunity usually is in the strokes, and trying to reduce that stroke count, making your strokes more effective. And that's what this does. This helps you to understand. And so if you take that off, now in our world, time is very, very short, right? Tiny time is big deal, right? So when we look at that, I believe when I set my world record in master swimming, I think I set it by 0.1. The guy right next to me was right there. It took 17 years, I think, before somebody else broke that. This poor guy was just as good as I am. If he hadn't clipped his fingernails that morning, maybe, right? He would have won the race. It was that close. And I ended up holding it. What's the difference in a lifetime of holding the world record or wishing you had and being that close? How many nightmares of like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, right? And it goes on and on and on. And to me, it wouldn't have made any difference if I had said it. And the next heat he had broken it, because then we would have both been great, fantastic, right? So it's a difference in the way, a lot of self-esteem and things like that, and so it's very important, if this makes sense, to understand that if you take off 0.2 in a start, that may have a huge impact. If you take off 0.2 in your turns, that's going to have a much bigger impact. If you take off 0.2 in one cycle, that's smashing it. So that's where the great opportunity originally lies, if that makes sense to you. A lot of people say, oh, it's all in the starts and turns. With this tool, although starts and turns have very heavy psychological differences, and there's a lot to them, they do help tremendously. But the numbers don't lean towards the starts and turns being the most important, because there's not multiples. The numbers lead to the fact that the cycles per length are the key to start getting lots of opportunity to drop. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't work on your starts and turns. It just tells you where the really big, right? I had a guy tell me once, he was from India, he was coming in, he was bringing his daughter, and he came in the last year, and he said, oh, my daughter, I just need her to drop 2.5 seconds, or no, it was 4 seconds in the 50 free this year. I'm like, wow, okay, that's a good size drop. He's like, I know where we can get 4 seconds right away. And I said, well, where's that? He says, in her start is terrible. We can get at least 4 seconds off that start. And I'm thinking in my mind, she must be like camping out and ordering room service or something on the block. How's that possible? There's never 4. Now we actually did get 4 seconds and 4.2, I think, offer race during that time. However, and in the 50s, so it was a pretty major accomplishment. However, it didn't come off a little bit, but the whole thing didn't come off the start because there wasn't that room there. In the start, there's only maybe 0.8 seconds. 1.2 is a super slow start, right? So the 0.8, 0.5 seconds, you're just whittling down at a little amount, which can be a major factor because, like I said, I won by I think it was 0.01 actually, or something like this, and I won the race by. So if you got 0.2 from each cycle, that's massive. Okay, so then the last thing, again, create your plan. Open the target cycle counts, make sure you have that, review the glossary here, and make sure you got that right. And then you're going to go to the video analysis, right? And make sure that you're corresponding with that and you're moving towards what you want to get done, because you have that map, and that way you can see it, and that's very important. And then the last thing right here is the tempo trainer. And the tempo trainer will let you train beep, beep, beep. So you pick out a point and you train to the race map. So you can see triangulation, first the race map tool, then the video analysis, then the tempo trainer, and back to the race map. And it keeps going like this, and little by little, you get better and better and better. And you know exactly where you're headed, a lot like back here, what we're talking about is setting the target, making the plan, keep on track, moving towards that plan, close the gap. Don't keep wandering around in circles, having no idea where we're headed, because that way you're not progressing, right? If you took a boat out and on the water and you just spun around in circles, where are you going to end up? But if you said, I want to go to that island, and you pointed towards the island and you started along that way, you'd probably make it to the island. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so today's takeaways, right? You've got the FM triangulation is a game changer. I don't usually use those words, but in this case, I think it is a game changer because all your actions go to the map, right? And once you have that map, I tell you what, if I was searching for a treasure, the first thing I want is a map, right? So you now know the 3 triangulation tools. It's a race map, video analysis, and a tempo trainer, so you can determine, are you actually going towards what that map says? How to use them, you understand how to use them, and then you know where to get them. Right. By the way, with the tempo trainer, where I'd go to like Amazon. Right. They have them on there. They're less than $50 usually, and they're really, really helpful. They're not. I don't know this, but I don't know exactly. You might want to get one or two, because once in a while the clip, you might lose a clip or something like that. But this is really helpful, and if you take your training and you put it to work for you in the direction you want to go, good chance you're going to get there. Next week, we're going to be covering a brand new topic. It's phenomenal. It's called emotional trading. It's great. It's in the brain section, and it's absolutely amazing. So we'll be presenting that next week. We're going to reveal the 4 characters, and they're amazing when you get this. Like, oh my gosh, this is the one I am. Oh, I want to be this one instead. So that's fantastic. The actions that set them apart. So we're going to reveal the 4 characters and the actions that set them apart, and then how to use them to get what you want from life. And that has to do with swimming, and it has to do with everything. Okay, don't forget, make sure if you like it, let us know. If you like the show, share it with your friends. Let them know that they can come in and take a look at this if you thought this tool was valuable. And we'll see you next time on FM Facebook Live.